Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm back. It's been a little while since you've seen me, and today I wanted to record this video. This video is very important for me. Um, it marks a very big change in my life. This is a video that I actually had started to record a few months ago, but some things happened and it wouldn't have made sense to drop it then just because of some things I was going through. But today is the perfect time for me to sit down and have this conversation with you guys about something that I'm changing in my life, especially going into a new year, 2025. Is going to be strong. Sit down. Let's have a conversation. Let's jump straight into it, right? No sense in beating around the bush. And also, I don't know why I'm still wearing these headphones here. So, the primary thing that I really wanted to talk to you guys today about, especially in the changes that are coming in my life, and something that I know people in my circle have struggled with before, I've struggled with before. It's for years, for years, for years, for years. I struggled with literally rolling, lighting, blowing J's, smoking weed, and it's something that I'm doing away with. I want to sit with you guys today and talk about the good, the bad, the funny of the entire thing, the ups and downs that I've been through on this journey, and why I'm finally committing to quitting, which is very important to me. And I've already seen so many changes. And I wanted to kind of talk to people about some changes that you might be able to see in your life once you've decided to put it out. If it's something that you're entertaining, if you're one of those people who feels like it serves you, then let it serve you, let it continue to serve you. But for years, for years, for years, it's been destroying my life. And now's the final time that I'm putting it down for good. For years, weed was literally a lifestyle for me, right? I was one of those people for years. It helped me relax. It helped me become more social in certain instances. Um, Helped me become more social around friends. I kind of grew up being a kid that was a little socially awkward. It was one of those kind of ways that I could kind of fit in with the crowd. And it just became a crutch also when I would go through negative aspects or negative situations in my life. It was kind of one of those things I leaned into. But the funny thing is, in regards to like my journey with weed, is I was never really someone who smoked much growing up. I was actually up until maybe about 24. I hadn't really smoked much. I could count how many times I had smoked in my life leading up to that point. And then at 24, I don't know what changed. I think I was going through a particular time, hardship time in my life, especially on the financial end. My living situation wasn't the best, and I needed something to help me escape. And it ended up being that thing that really started to fill that void for me. From about 24 to, I want to say, 29, I couldn't get myself to even move or do anything within my day without reaching for a bong. Like literally, I was that guy at 9 in the morning. I was already picking it up and taking a pull, um, just to get myself started. And now looking back, it was during that period, at least in particular, it had a lot to do with depression, and kind of growing up. I was one of those kids, or it within my circle of just, you bury that stuff, right? You don't bitch and moan about it, right? Depression isn't a real thing. But now looking back, hindsight, you know what they say, right? So kind of looking back, I dealt with that tremendously, a ton. And that was kind of one of those things that was just kind of helping me survive and get through the day and numb all of my feelings and my pain. The problem with it, though, ended up being around that same period, 29, going into my 30s, it started not to serve me anymore. It started to not serve me anymore, and it became just a habit that kept me stuck. And I started to become aware of the fact that it kept me stuck, and I felt like my growth was very limited. I'm already someone who suffers from things like ADHD, so adding that into the mix, I would pretty much look like this: get up, hit my bong, and sit on the couch all day, getting into nothing that served me nothing, right? And watching my time and my life kind of waste away. But this is where a lot of the struggle for me personally started to begin. Because by that time, it was a habit, it was a habit, it was a habit, right? So even knowing how much it was affecting my life, it made it very difficult for me to cut it out of my life, right? Because I had been doing it for so many years at this point, right? And my brain, even though consciously I knew I needed to put it down to really start addressing a lot of the things that I wanted to address, just being able to get up and do more with my day. I wasn't even, it wasn't even like I was looking for something super life changing within a particular period of time or anything like that. I just knew that there was more to life than just sitting on my freaking couch, putting on some video games, watching Japanese anime, even though I love my Japanese anime, right? But this wasn't living to my full potential. And I had started getting to a point where I started to read some books a little bit about it. There's one in particular that I actually just picked up not too long ago that set me back on this attempt, which is the final attempt, and and this is why I'll say why. I'll put a picture of the book somewhere going on in here, and even link it below if you wanted to get it. But I had to change like my mindset about it. So at 30, I went on a period of putting it down. So I woke up one day and I was super motivated to like just stop it because I was like, this has to end. This is not serving me. So I grabbed my phone, I grabbed my papers, I grabbed literally I think at that time I had like half a pound of weed, took it, dumpster fire, baby. Dump literally dumped it, right? And that day was the last day I had smoked for I want to say about half a year. It was about half a year I had gone at that time. I was feeling good, but what happened? I think I had gotten comfortable, right? And I thought I was in the clear zone. But cause where was I? Yeah, I had thought I had gotten in the clear zone. I was about 6 months in, and I was out with friends. I was out with a friend, and the voices started to kind of linger, started to come back in my mind. Like, what's one time? What's one time kind of giving into something that you don't do anymore? You don't do it anymore. Come on. What's one time you're hanging out with friends? It's good time. We outside. This will serve you at least in this moment, right? That's what I thought. So I'm pretty sure I don't have to tell you at this point that that literally led me back to where I started, right? So that after that experience, I went on about another now 6 months of smoking consistently, right? But it was adjusted because I luckily enough for me personally, I realized that this left a loophole open, and this could potentially segue into me getting really back into this. So it became my smoking cut back, but it became even more of a battle because it was like I had to fight my mind just to not smoke. Right? Part of me was like, oh, it's okay, but part of me knew that it was the change I needed because I had also had a 6 month period of growth, of feeling good, of energy going in the right direction. So I knew the potential um, gains for stopping for an extended period. So, but now the battle was on. It was like the battle of good and evil going on in my head, right? So I that led to another 6 month period of me smoking fairly consistent. I for the most part I did a decent job of keeping it to the weekends, but the weekends turned into what's a Monday, what's a Tuesday, it's I'm after work, da 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 da, and then that turned into consistency on picking it up and smoking it down, right? Um, about 6 months after that, at that 6 month period, I had kind of gotten back to a point where I was getting fed up with it again, and I decided I needed to put it down again. And that second attempt led to me going for about a 4 month period, 4 or 5 month period again, where I put it down. I didn't want to look at it. Life was good. I was singing and dancing, right? But then I ended up getting in a new position, getting a new job, and meeting a coworker who literally had the THC cards. He kept them with him, right? And he became somebody I vibed with, I was cool with. He would do it at work. He'd be at work doing his thing, higher out of the kite. He was kind of like the guy. You get me? And I kind of wanted to fit in with the guy. We all kind of want some attention and want to connect with people in different spaces. At least during that period in my time, I still valued things like that and trying to almost fit in, especially I was the new guy at the job. And here's this guy who's been here for a while. He's kind of he was tasked at that time with training me. So he was somebody to really kind of get close to, right? And then again, another that was probably another 6 months as well. Yeah, that was probably about another 6 months as well there that I went through that struggle, right? And it, funny enough, I was able to put it down again because he ultimately ended up getting let go. So at that 6 month period, he got let go, and I was like, "Oh crap!" One, I didn't know if it, at that time if it was because they found out he was smoking at the job. So I immediately, literally through fear, put it down, and I went another 4 months. 4 months, yeah, 3 or 4 months after that second attempt to putting it down. I had thrown away all of my weed, da 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 da, and I was back to square one and feeling good, feeling sober. And taking in a lot of the benefits and a lot of the growth during that period, which was felt good. It felt like I was changing my life. It felt like fresh air. It felt like I could finally find my path and find like my purpose in this life. And that didn't last that long. Because after 4 months, your boy was back. And I know what really brought me back this time. I was faced in my life with some situations that brought a lot of fear out of me, and I had never been taught, or I had never inquired and received the information that I needed to understand how to build proper systems to address things like my fear or my anxiety. In smoking was still, even though I had put it down, picked it back up, put it down, picked it back up, it was still the basis of when I was going through negative situations to bring positivity or happiness into my life. So no matter how much I had put it down, if I didn't replace the what it served in my life, right? It was always going to come back. Again, hindsight is 2020, right? Then I didn't know that. Now I do, and that's why. That's for starters. That's a big reason why I wanted to record this video today. One, so that a lot of people out there can learn from my experience. Maybe there's something that you could take from it, but also to create accountability because this is the fourth and final time that I'm going through this. The benefits of being sober have just been so great to me. I picked up my camera today. If I was still high, I wouldn't have picked up this damn camera today. I would have probably been on my sofa in my living room doing nothing but nothing with this free time that I have. And it's the holiday season. It's a beautiful time. I need to be active, need to have energy, need to live life and not living and waking up in negative states that are built over time, over time, over time by doing these things that are negative, at least for me. I can't speak for everyone, but for me, it unlocked a lot of negative experiences. And it was this crutch that wasn't serving me. And if it's not serving you, you gotta let it go. So this was the fourth and final time. I'm excited. I'm a few weeks clean now. I'm going more. 2025, I'm not touching the thing at all, at all, at all. But now let's get into it a little further because I want to kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea of some of the changes that I've seen energy wise. And some of the things that I've experienced on the positive end, and even if there were some any negative side effects of stopping. So let's get into it. So I'm gonna hit you guys with the negatives first because one, I don't have too many negatives. I don't have too many negatives overall, and I have been through the ringer so many times before that I knew what I was working with, but I don't have too many negatives. I think the biggest negatives are the adjustment to your body and the way your mind, your subconscious mind, really will fight you, fight you, fight you, and tell you you need to go back to being the old version of yourself. But once you understand some of the things that you could put in place, like for example, a big aspect that helped me is replacing um, this substance as my happy place. So I got back heavier into my working out. I got even heavier into my reading. I started hanging out with friends more and fighting. But the friends, one, that weren't doing it. And the blessing is a lot of my friends that were in my friends group within the last couple of years, within that same period that I was going through, had started to put it down as well. So now I don't have anyone in my circle that's looking to pick up weed and smoke weed. There's no one in my circle at all that's on that time anymore. And that's a beautiful thing. Another negative is I notice early on your body goes through withdrawals. Oh my goodness. I would wake up in the morning in a pool of sweat, sweat. It's like detoxing my body, just getting it all out. That was probably one of the big ones. I think also I suffered from. I'm forgetting what it's called right now. I'm gonna figure out the name. I'll get it and I'll add it here. But there's some sort of a mental condition that could come along with smoking. That 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 does things like affect your capacity to to I'm trying to figure out what it is that I'm looking to say. For me, right, something that I struggled with, for example, on that and in regards to my mental space, better yet, is how I'll put it, is frustration. I would get frustrated about everything. Everything. You ask me to open a bottle, I get frustrated. You want to talk to me, I'm frustrated. Get out of my face. I didn't want to have any time for it. I didn't care at all, right? And I noticed that it led to almost something like a psychosis a little bit. Just warped thinking, warped beliefs that weren't serving me, and I needed to build beliefs that were going to serve me going forward as I continue to like build the life that I want for myself, right? So that was one of the big things. That was one of the big things that also led me to believe, like, for sure, this is the time that I'm putting it down and I'm never going back. I don't even have any doubts now through what I've learned over the last few months, that I'm ever going to pick it up again. I know this time is the last time for me, and this hopefully will be like some support again from some of my failures and some of the negativity that I've experienced that can maybe speak to you and have you look a little further into it and get the help that you may need, whether or not it's going to some sort of treatment, have building a friend group that doesn't support that, or even just kind of reading and getting education on it at a deeper level, so that way you can have a resource that you can pull from, that you would understand where things are and what how it can affect you on your day to day, your life, and your future. For me, a lot of the positives kind of blend together, and I mean that in the best way. So, like, just waking up, having more positive mindset, and being able to kind of get into the right energies very early on with my day, being motivated, being more determined, building better relationships, just having more energy to do things, just being able to do things, just getting tasks done. I would so oftentimes when I would be smoking, I'd have an itinerary like planned out for like the day, and buddy, nothing was getting done. Maybe one thing. Now I can actually get things done, where I was paralyzed before. So it's a lot of different little things that blend together that just make me a better version of myself, and that's really, it's like you have to kind of value yourself enough to want that, right? And I think for a long time I didn't value myself enough to really want that out of myself. But now I'm in a different era of my life, and it's like creating my own value, understanding my worth, and being able to put that aside has allowed me the clarity to be able to have a vision for my future and understand where I want to go. And it just means so much for me at this stage in my life. I have a birthday. Literally, my birthday's next week, in about a week and like 2 days. Um, so it's like going into the new year again. I'm going into the new year. It's new energies, new vibes, it's new everything that's going to be coming out of it. And I'm just so happy that I've been able to kind of see those positives, understand those positives, and being able to every day now put myself in a position to really reinvest in those positives so that they can grow for the long term, and get me where I'm looking to be with myself, overall. So yeah. Yeah, but that's my 2 cents there. Some that I really felt important that I wanted to share my feelings, my thoughts on, about. It's a struggle. It's been over what, maybe about a 3 year struggle, really putting it down. But I know there's people that could benefit from this message. So that's my little 2 cents on it. Hopefully, you're again able to take something away from it. I also mentioned a book, a particular book. I'm gonna freaking give you that name right now. Then I'm gonna end up putting something in the description about it. It's called The Freedom Model, and it's the freedom model for addictions: escape the treatment and recovery trap, right? This is by Mark Sharon, Michelle Dunbar, and Stephen Slade. I got it right here on my iPad here, but that's a book that's really spoke to me, and has given me an understanding of, listen, in the short of it is you're consciously making a decision, um, to turn back to this substance, and you have the choice to be able to put it down. You just have to, one, want it, right? And two, understand what a happier life or what happier habits look like for you. So to give a little bit of a simple scenario. I had, again, going back to what I was saying before, I would pick that up because that was my happy place. But the minute I replaced it with something that made me happy, that was able to fire the dopamine, the endorphins, and all that stuff, like, for example, working out again, it made the process of putting it down even easier once I had especially determined that I really, really wanted it, right? So this book shed a lot of light and gave me a lot of systems and understanding of my power in the situation, and that I am not an addict. You got to shed the idea that you're an addict. No, you're someone who has a substance issue and has not maybe been making the best decision to serve you. But again, that's your choices, and you have to come to an understanding of what you ultimately want. So that book shed that light on it for me, and it's given me a lot of useful tools to kind of move forward. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening. You don't have to like, comment, or subscribe. If you want to, feel free to go ahead. I'm gonna be back. This is just my story. I'm sharing my life with the internet, on the internet here, however you want to put it. But this is a meaningful thing for me. So spending this time with you here is meant a lot for me, and it's taken a lot of weight off of my shoulders and allowed me to move on to the next step in my life. I'm gonna be back. Look for a video soon. Thank you again. Take care.